Good morning. Welcome to Community Unitarian Universalist Church here in Plano, Texas. My name is Reverend Dr. Aija Duelm. I am the minister of this congregation. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I'm so glad to see you here. There are so many new faces. I'm so thrilled to see that. Today is our Women Alliance retreat, and so I would say 30 people are not here because they are out there in the retreat, and next week we have a camp out. Also, we will be missing a few people, but we'll be all back soon, and so you will get to meet more and more people who are part of this community. We welcome all who come through our doors. We're glad to see all who join us, who come for just to check us out, who come to stay. And whether you've been here for 10,000th time or this might be your first visit, welcome. This is a place where we invite and welcome people who are seeking for truth in their lives, people who are seeking to break the chains of loneliness and look for community because something has told them that you do belong, and there is a place where we belong. We welcome all who are coming here to learn, to resist, and simply to find rest. We're glad you're here. We're also streaming this service. There are people joining us online, and welcome all who are there with us today. To make this place a place of welcome, it takes all of us. And how do we do this? We challenge ourselves. We put a call to ourselves to stretch beyond our comfort zone and seek to open ourselves to radical generosity to others. We are ushers and stewards, not only of this place, but in all of our places of belonging and life where we are. What we do here matters. What we do with our hands matters. Even when I use a word hand as a metaphor for things that we do, because sometimes it is our words and sometimes it is our smiles, and sometimes it really literally is our hand that reaches out and embraces another person, writes a card, or works hard to do physical things. Even when it's writing on the computer, that is another physical thing today that we do with our hands. Aristotle once said that hand is a tool of tools, to indicate that human beings have this ability to impact the world around them. And it shows that hands has that fundamental role in our existence. We have the ability to create, shape, and interact with this world. And so today I will use hands as a metaphor for all the work that we do. We will look at the work that we and people before us have done to create and shape this community, and look at the future, what we can still do in the future. Wherever you are on your journey, you're welcome here. For a call to worship, words written by Reverend Shari Woodbury. Welcome, all who seek renewal in a weary world. Welcome all who come with love and energy to share. Welcome to those who worry for the future. Welcome each one who is grateful for today. Know that in this place you are not alone. In community, we share our strength with one another and we keep the flame of love burning bright. Know that in this place, responsibility is shared. Here, tradition holds us. Ancestors shine a light from the past. Here, the young lift their bright faces and beckon us forward. Take my hand, and we can go on together. Come, let us worship together. We will begin by lighting our chalice.
Our chalice is a symbol of both the heritage of our past and the light of hope within this church today. Today it will be lit by Steve Mason.
These words are by Laurel S. Sheridan. Take from life its coals, not its ashes. Fan the flames of love and justice. Join hands and hearts in common endeavor, and there will be no limit to what we can achieve together.
A covenant is the promise that we make with one another about the way we'll walk together as a community, as a congregation. Please join me in reminding ourselves of this promise. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth of freedom, and to help one another.
Today I have a story called Beautiful Hands. It is a story that comes from one of our older curriculum for children's religious education program called Windows and Mirrors. And it was written by Barb Pitman. And it's a story about a girl called May. And May was bewildered. She was ashamed of her hands. Everyone else's hands looked pretty, manicured, clean. And hers didn't. Often she would hide them. Winters were easy because then she could wear mittens that her grandma had made, and then she could carry the books to school and drag her sister Kate with her, and nobody would see her hands because they would be covered. But the other times of the year were a little bit harder. One day, when she was walking through the school hallway, she noticed the poster on the wall that advertised that there will be a new art class. And May got so excited. She liked to draw and she liked doing other art projects. She quickly signed up and she got so excited. She jumped and leaped and walked home and thinking about all the art projects that she could make and draw and do. That evening she was completely forgot about her hands. She did all of her home chores, including doing the dishes and watching her younger sister because her mom worked long hours. And it was up on May to take care of some household chores at her house. And then, when the day was gone and she had finished all the chores that she had worked on, she remembered that project and realized that when she will be drawing, others will see her hands. She panicked because that was something she was so afraid of. She realized she has to take her name down from that poster. She cannot take this class. So she thought, as soon as she gets to the school in the morning, she will go and take her name off and it will solve everything. So she did. She woke up in the morning, braided her sister's hair. They got to school, but the poster was gone. And the class was about to start. She thought, well, I'll just go and tell the teacher that I'm dropping out. But the class was buzzing with other students in the classroom, and it was so noisy she could not get the teacher's attention. She sat down and thought, well, I'll tell the teacher after the class. But to her surprise, the teacher said, your first assignment today is to draw your hands. She was accustomed to obeying her teacher, and so she did. She drew her hands, and as soon as she was done, she rushed out of the classroom without looking at anyone, and thought, well, the next day, I'll just tell the teacher that I'm going to drop out of this class. The very next day, when she got to the class, the teacher started to talk about all of these drawings and paintings that the students had made. There were so many beautiful hand drawings with pink and purple dotted fingernails, and hand with the diamond ring on every finger. And then she held up one painting that was very familiar to May. And teacher said, this drawing was the one I liked the most. It showed a small hand with fingers curled toward a palm, as if holding a precious stone or delicate butterfly. May shoved her hands under the desk, wanting to crawl underneath it herself as well, along with those hands. But the teacher kept talking. She said, this is a very interesting drawing. It is a beautiful drawing because it shows a hand that does not sit idle. It is a hand that has worked hard. The fingers are curved as to protect something fragile. The teacher walked up to May and asked her, could I please see your hands? And May did bring her hands up and showed them to the teacher, even though she really didn't want to do it. And the teacher says, yes, now I see. These hands are truly the most interesting and beautiful hands. They have caressed little kittens, held small daisies. It's a hand that has washed many dishes, folded laundry, given baths, combed hair. It is a beautiful hand. And the teacher went back and started to talk about the next assignment that they were going to do. After the class, May ran home, dragging her sister Kate part of the way, carrying her for the rest. She put the painting on Mom's desk, or on Mom's bed with her, finished that evening's chores, washed dishes, bathed Kate, finished her own homework. And then when she lay down in bed, she noticed the glow of the moon that was shining on her hands. But they looked different that night. They reminded her of the many chores that she had done, the dishes she had washed while Mom was sleeping, the many times she had bathed her sister, cleaned up the house. She thought about the way her palm fit over her sister's cheek and how wonderful her sister's skin felt to her hand. She remembered the tender kisses that her mom gave her hands. And as she was about to nod off to sleep, she looked one more time at her hands. And she smiled, because these were truly the most interesting and beautiful hands.
Our reading today is called These Hands That Connect Us to One Another, and it's by Amy Bowden Freedman and Keith Kron. Become aware of the hands that you are holding, their warmth, texture, and weight. As an infant, these same hands reached out for the nourishment of milk. As a child, these hands shakily wrote a name on a paper for the first time. These hands have wiped away tears, clenched in anger, waved hello and goodbye countless times, and embraced loved ones. And now these hands are the tangible link that connects us to one another. Look and see those around you who have experienced so much that is life. These hands have worked, are working, and will work to make the world a better place.
When was the last time you looked at your hands and really, really looked at them? Why don't we take a moment and do that now? Notice the lines, the bumps, the scars, your skin of your hands. Our hands tell us of the labor that they have engaged in. The skin usually gets rough after cleaning, sometimes cooking, gardening, fixing up car and home. Nails split and get broken. Skin toughens in places, splits, acquires rash. I used to have calluses on my fingers when I played guitar, and I've experienced several blisters in my hands, especially after garden work. Some have been painful, most of them just simply uncomfortable. Maybe your hands carry scars. Maybe they are well manicured. Maybe they are hard and strong from physical labor. Maybe agricultural work, construction work, other kind of manual labor they've taken on. Maybe your hands show the athletic ability that you have. I don't know if you know, but NBA players are known to have very large hands. They probably have the largest of the hands. I'm not sure if Guinness records have that record, but one of the players that I know, I don't know all of the NBA players, but Michael Jordan have one of the largest hands, but he is number 8 on that list with his hand size. His hand length from palm to tip of the middle finger is 9.75 inches. That's what, a little more than mine, right? Yes. Because the average male-identified person's hand length is 7.4 inches. And so his is 9.75. His hand span, tip from thumb to a pinky finger, when the hand is outstretched, is 11.3 inches. And then average is 8.5 inches for a male-identified person. I know you needed a fun fact, right? Our hands bear witness to the work that goes through them. They also carry our pain and our health challenges, arthritis, stroke, injuries, birth defects, even cancer risks. They all show up on our hands. On many occasions, the signs of our experiences start to show up gradually on our hands. And at first, that change may not be even noticeable. Yet the more experiences we accumulate, the more our hands start to reveal those. They testify to the struggle, the process, the work that we've done, what we carry inside us, things we care about, who we care about. And even when some of those experiences have not led to significant success or notable results. And if we believe palm readers, our hands also tell us our future. So when we look at the success or result of the hands that, the work that they do, sometimes we do not see that result right away. It comes later. Some of you would know the struggle at work and hardships in relationships or long years of parenting. Usually it takes a while to see what comes out of it and what the result is. But the hands still testify to that work and effort that has gone through them. And they show that what we do, are part of how we build our lives, and that we are agents, we're active participants in building our own lives. This is part of our UU theology, that we as human beings have a capacity to impact our own lives, that our work, our efforts, our giving contribute to what happens. We can and we do impact and change experiences. And this community is a place where we can most often see that result of our work. I mentioned that this is part of our theology, and just for a little bit, I will be a little more academic. In theology, this is called high anthropology. The belief that human beings have agency, that we have the ability to do things that impact the world and our lives. In psychology, this agency is often referred to as the locus of control, the belief to what extent we can control the events of our lives. And psychologists distinguish between two different areas: internal locus of control and external one. The internal one says that people believe that they have some control of their lives, of their actions, of their decisions, and they can directly influence the outcomes. These are people who tend to take responsibility for their successes as well as their failures. They are more likely to be proactive and motivated people because what they do matters. That is the core belief. And yes, sometimes it leads to extremes when we start to think that we can control absolutely everything, or that we are responsible for absolutely everything. It probably doesn't work that well. But people with external locus of control believe that all events around them are determined by outside factors. Call it luck, or fate, or simply just other people do this. They may feel less in control of their lives, they may feel less powerful, and they are also less likely to take action to improve their circumstances. And a lot of times this focus leads to rather detrimental experience for people's well-beings. The very extreme example of that kind of thinking is narcissism. So our theology says that we have power to make a difference, and while it may not always seem easy to see and feel that power, there are reminders around us, and one of those reminders is our hands. They remind us of the work that we are doing, of things that we have labored and put an effort into. And I want to focus today on the things that have happened here in this community that show us those examples. People who are here and people who have been here before have done things, they've built and shaped this community, and their work still lives with us. So it's the easiest thing is to see the physical things. I'm standing at this pulpit, and it was built in 1988 by Hank Murphy. He was the founding member of this church. He was the first president. He was also very influential in creating our bylaws, and those are the rules that we follow as a organization. So he built this pulpit and the side, I don't know what they're called. Lecterns, okay. Then on this side you'll see a chalice. And that chalice was given in memory of Betty Moore. First it was given in memory of her husband, Thomas Moore. And then Betty Moore was added. It is engraved. The chalice is engraved. If you've never looked at it closely, welcome. After the service, you can come and look at it. Betty Moore joined this church 3 years after it was founded and started in 1978. If you look through the window, you'll see the memorial garden. She gave the seed money to start that garden with one condition. We were not allowed to name the garden after her. She also did such things as, on a regular basis, took chairs home and steam cleaned them at home. She taught RE classes a lot. Her name is also on our outstanding volunteer board that is when you walk outside there on the wall. The engraving part, Dina and Richard Perkins are people who did this engraving. They used to do all our name tags. They retired now, so now they're no longer doing it. But all the letterings that you see outside, the signs on the doors, in the front, they did all of those letterings and signages, and they donated. They did not charge us for those. That was their gift to us as a community. If you look at the back of the sanctuary, we have the chalice in the middle and the banners that are hanging on the side. So every year, Unitarian Universalists gather for a large assembly. We call it GA, General Assembly. And each congregation comes to this assembly. We send delegates to this congregation because that's when we vote for some business for our large association. And we bring our banner. So the first one, the flame, was made by Leslie Todd, and that was one of the banners that we took to this General Assembly. It was made around 98, 2000, around that time. That's what we carried through this assembly. It's made of small pieces. It's, if you ever stop by and look at it, it's a small an artwork. And the other one, the leaf one, was made a little later, 2008, by Grace Morrison. And she used that logo from our strategic plan. We have a very old strategic plan. We have not updated it. But that's the one she used when she created the banner. Grace was a puppeteer, fiber and glass artist, and she played ukulele. So she also did this banner for us. The metal chalice was brought over from the Custer Road, our previous location. It's probably, it is over 20 years old. But we couldn't pinpoint down who acquired it, who bought it, or who created it. So if you know the story, let me know. Dick probably would want to hear that too. We're assuming it was bought, but we don't know. And then during the meditation time, you all lit candles in the window. Those candle frames were made by Dick Hildebrand, and Dick is right here with us. one of the former ministers, Reverend Patrick Price, went to a conference in Austin. It was at First UU Church in Austin. And he took a picture, gave it to Dick, and said, "Make it." Here it is. Dick made the candle wall for us. And we light it during every service as part of our spiritual practice. Elena Westbrook added votives to this, and it was created about little more than 10 years ago, around 2010, 2013. So it's been a while since we've been using these. Then also you see in that window is a painting with irises. That was made by Joyce Thompson, and she's also right here. She made it in 2014. We have some photos in the archives from the way how she was putting it together. So we have some records to even look at it. We have two smaller pieces right above the painting. There's a chalice in that window made by Denise Dittmar, who was a board member, VP of programs, and also led art programs. And then there's another one with lilies. And if you know who made it, let me know, because we don't. So coming back to our pulpit area, the singing bowl, this was bought by also Reverend Patrick Price, and we have two of these. There's another one in the back. They are tuned to third, C and E, do and mi, and the congregation used to ring them both in tune, so one first and then the second, so they echo. I haven't done it because I didn't know that was the practice, and I really need to practice before we start doing this. But that is another. We have altar cloths, and you probably, when you come more often, you notice that we changed the colors. This one, the green one currently. They were made by Chris Spencer, one of our members. Some of the worship associates have also given us as gifts some of these altar cloths. They are made, Chris Spencer made them herself. That is handmade. And another one on that wall, the hymnal board, was also made by Dick Hildebrand right here. We no longer use it since we switched to our PowerPoint thing and the screen thing. But before we had the screen, that's where we put the hymn numbers so that people would know which hymn we're singing. And if it helps for you to see the music, the notes for all of the hymns that we sing, we have the hymnals in the back. So when you walk in, just grab one. When you leave, put it back. Now we only put the words up here because it's really difficult to put the notes as well on that screen and be able for all of us to read the text then. But the board the idea came from Dick's childhood. He used to go to a Methodist church, and that's the kind of hymnal board that they had at his church. Oh, there was a cross at the top, and we changed it to, you have a chalice there, our symbol, okay. Small change. And then you see this backdrop that we have, and this is one of the newer additions here. Chris Spencer was the one who designed it. And if you think that artists do not need to study math or geometry, you're very wrong, because when Chris and I were looking at this, we were using the Pythagorean theorem to calculate all of the measurements. We were stunned that we had to do this, but we did. The banners that are there were made by Jen Mason right here. They were updated after the building flooded in 2021. The whole building flooded during the winter storm, and so a lot of things needed changing and upgrading and basically cleaning out the mold and the muddiness that was here. And so then Jen updated the banners, made these new ones. And then there's the most recent things are on that wall. You see the cranes, the peace cranes. They were sent to us from UU Church in Cherry Hill. There are 1,000 of them. And they sent them to us after our building was firebombed in 2023 as a prayer, as a wish for peace, to remind us that they are holding us and thinking about us as we try to recover and heal from that event. And so Chris Spencer arranged them in this display format. And then the 3 banners also came from that same event. They were put together by 3 artists, Chris Spencer that I mentioned, Jen Mason, and Mina Daphne. If you see, the Caring Connections was the heart. After this firebombing, we received a lot of cards, and the heart is made from pieces of the cards, of people letting us know they're holding us, they're thinking about us. And those cards are in the heart. The tree, after this event, we held an event, a worship service where all members were able to write on that wall, we had paper on that wall, what this church means to you. Why is this place worthwhile building up after this incident? And the tree and all of these leaves are pieces from what people wrote that day on the worship, during the worship. And the chalice as our symbol of faith, the idea came from cards because we received a lot of cards that had chalices on them. And that's what gave the idea to our artists. And they built the chalice as our faith that sustained us throughout this difficult time that we had in 23. So you see that things here in this place was made by people who are part of this community, by their hands, their work, their labor. Everyone who comes here contributes to what happens here. And that does not get lost. Those things still live here. They become part of us all, and they continue to support and sustain us as we go forward. There are more items around the building, and it's probably another sermon to tackle all of the other artwork that is all around this place. So we'll see if we can do another service. But whenever you see an artwork, you will see a story about an experience that this community has gone through, a story of work that has changed lives, touched hearts. So we celebrate the end of stewardship. The gifts of the heart was our theme. We had a very successful season, and so now we are looking forward to what we will build next. And this is that opportunity for all of us to be part of building and creating our next experience, our next program, our next artwork, our next life of this place. Maybe fun, maybe games, maybe cakes. We already have a cake. This community, our experience in this community is ours to build. There's no one else who's going to do it for us. We support ourselves, we create our own church. And it is up to us to shape what comes next. And our work is not only welcome here, it becomes the legacy of this church. It will shape who we are and who we will be in the future. And our hands Our hands will carry witness to that. May it be so, and blessed be. As we go forth from this place, I offer you a blessing written by Stephen Crump. That which is worthy of doing, create with your hands. That which is worthy of repeating, speak with a clear voice. That which is worthy of remembering, hold in your hearts. And that which is worthy of living, go and live it now. Amen.